Welcome back to our channel, World Coins History. As you knew that old is gold, but these rare Lincoln pennies coin that are most valuable than you think, don't spend one of them. You're lucky if you have one of these, so please watch complete video and find your treasure. Let's start this. Top 1. Today, we're about to uncover the shocking story behind one of the most mysterious and exciting pennies ever made in the United States, the 1983 Lincoln cent. That's right, we're talking about a coin that most people would pass off as spare change, but in reality, it could be worth more than a brand new car, or even more than the average salary. Stay tuned because this tiny piece of copper-colored metal has secrets that even most collectors don't know about, and you might have one sitting in a jar somewhere in your house. Let's rewind the clock for a moment and look at why the 1983 Lincoln penny is so special. The year 1982 was a turning point in the history of American coinage. Before then, Lincoln cents were made from 95% copper, which made them heavier and more valuable in terms of metal content. But with copper prices skyrocketing, the U.S. Mint made a major decision: switch the penny to a cheaper composition. Starting in 1982, pennies were made primarily of zinc with just a thin copper plating. This switch created a lot of overlap, confusion, and errors during production, and 1983 was the first full year when all pennies were supposed to be zinc-based. Or so they thought. Enter the 1983 penny, a coin that on the surface looks just like any other. But hidden among the billions of zinc cents minted that year are a few extraordinary mistakes. Some 1983 pennies were accidentally struck on leftover copper planchets, the metal discs used for the older, heavier pennies. These are known as transitional error coins, and they're extremely rare. Why? Because by 1983, the mint had officially moved to zinc planchets, so finding a 1983 penny made from copper is like finding a ghost from the past that wasn't supposed to exist. But how can you tell if you have one of these ultra-rare coins? The answer is in the weight. Most 1983 pennies weigh about 2.5 grams because they're made of zinc. But if your 1983 penny weighs around 3.1 grams, there's a good chance it was struck on a copper planchet from the earlier era. That tiny difference in weight could be the key to unlocking thousands of dollars worth of hidden value. This is why collectors weigh every penny from 1983 they come across, just in case they strike gold in the form of old copper. But wait, the story gets even better. As if the metal composition error wasn't enough to make this coin a legend, there's another version of the 1983 Lincoln cent that has a dramatic visual error: a doubled die reverse. This means that during the minting process, the reverse side of the die stamped the coin slightly off alignment, creating a double image on the back. The result is a 3D-like effect, most noticeable in the words "E pluribus unum, United States of America," and 1 cent. These kinds of errors are extremely rare and valuable because they are visually striking and impossible to fake. Now imagine this: a 1983 Lincoln penny that has both the copper composition and the double die reverse. That combination is the holy grail for penny collectors, and it sends prices skyrocketing at auctions. The odds of having a coin with both of these rare errors are astronomically low, but that's exactly why the coin is so thrilling. Every collector dreams of finding a coin that was never meant to exist, and the 1983 penny offers just that possibility. For passionate collectors, the 1983 penny represents everything that makes this hobby so rewarding. It's a coin that turns a common object into a treasure, something that could be hiding in plain sight. It's a piece of history, a rare mistake, and a valuable artifact all wrapped into one. Whether you're an experienced numismatist or a casual enthusiast, the hunt for the 1983 error penny adds excitement to every pocketful of change. Every time you search through a roll of pennies, you're not just looking for coins, you're looking for a piece of American minting history that could be worth a small fortune. And here's the part that shocks everyone. One of these rare 1983 Lincoln pennies, struck on a copper planchet, in excellent condition, and verified by a professional grading service, was sold at a public auction for a jaw-dropping total of $69,000. Top 2. This video is all about a coin that looks like any other, but could actually be worth tens of thousands of dollars. That's right, we're diving into the story of the 1988 Lincoln penny from the United States of America, a coin that has caused quite a stir in the world of numismatics. It's small, it's copper-colored, and it's easy to overlook, but if you've got the right version of this coin, you could be holding on to a serious fortune. Stay with us to the very end, because we're going to reveal just how valuable this penny can be and what to look for if you want to uncover a rare and hidden gem in your own pocket change. At first glance, the 1988 Lincoln penny might seem ordinary, just another common cent with Abraham Lincoln's profile on the front and the Lincoln Memorial on the back. But the truth is, this particular year is full of fascinating secrets that make it one of the most interesting pennies ever minted. The reason it stands out isn't just the design, it's what happened during the minting process that makes some versions of the 1988 penny incredibly rare and valuable. These aren't just coins, they're minting anomalies that slipped through the cracks and found their way into circulation, waiting to be discovered by someone lucky enough to recognize their worth. So, what's the big deal about the 1988 penny? It all comes down to a specific error, an error involving the initials on the reverse side of the coin. Normally, at the base of the Lincoln Memorial on the back of the penny, you'll find the tiny initials, FG, standing for Frank Gasparo, the designer of the reverse. In most 1988 pennies, those initials appear crisp and clear, as they should. But in a small number of 1988 pennies, something unusual happened. The mint mistakenly used a reverse die from an earlier year, specifically, a 1989 design that had slightly different features. These particular 1988 pennies are now known as the 1988 reverse of 1989 variety, and they're incredibly rare. The main difference lies in the appearance of those FG initials. On the reverse die from 1989, the letters are spaced differently and shaped in a subtly distinct way. That change wasn't supposed to be used until the following year, yet somehow it ended up on some 1988 coins. That simple mix-up created one of the most valuable and sought-after modern Lincoln cent errors of all time. It's such a minor detail that most people would never notice, but trained collectors know to look closely, because spotting the difference could lead to a massive payout. What makes these coins even more exciting is that they weren't intended to exist at all. The mint tries to ensure consistency in design and precision in production, but every so often, a mistake slips through. And when that mistake involves a change in design that was never supposed to appear in a given year, collectors go wild. These error coins tell a story. They are unintentional time travelers that escaped the control of the mint and made their way into the hands of the public. They represent a rare and fascinating moment in the production of American currency, and that's exactly why they're worth so much to those who understand their value. Of course, condition plays a huge role in determining the final price. If you find a 1988 penny with the reverse of 1989 in heavily circulated condition, it might still hold value, but if it's in mint state, uncirculated, or professionally graded as high quality, then you're looking at a real jackpot. Coin grading services like PCGS and NGC have certified some of these rare 1988 error pennies at the highest levels, and those top-tier coins are the ones that drive up the excitement and the price tags. For passionate collectors, the thrill of finding one of these rare 1988 pennies is like striking gold. It's not just about the money, though that's certainly part of the appeal. It's about the chase, the mystery, and the satisfaction of uncovering something that most people would overlook. It's the kind of story that brings collectors together, sharing knowledge, comparing finds, and keeping the hunt alive with every new roll of pennies. That's what makes numismatics so rewarding. You never know when your next great discovery might be sitting right in your own pocket. Now here's the part you've been waiting for. One of these rare 1988 Lincoln pennies, featuring the reverse of 1989 and certified in exceptional condition, was sold at auction for an unbelievable $64,000. Today's video is all about a coin that looks like any other, but could actually be worth tens of thousands of dollars. That's right. We're diving into the story of the 1988 Lincoln penny from the United States of America, a coin that has caused quite a stir in the world of numismatics. It's small, it's copper-colored, and it's easy to overlook, but if you've got the right version of this coin, you could be holding on to a serious fortune. Stay with us to the very end, because we're going to reveal just how valuable this penny can be and what to look for if you want to uncover a rare and hidden gem in your own pocket change. At first glance, the 1988 Lincoln penny might seem ordinary, just another common cent with Abraham Lincoln's profile on the front and the Lincoln Memorial on the back. But the truth is, this particular year is full of fascinating secrets that make it one of the most interesting pennies ever minted. The reason it stands out isn't just the design, it's what happened during the minting process that makes some versions of the 1988 penny incredibly rare and valuable. These aren't just coins, they're minting anomalies that slipped through the cracks and found their way into circulation, waiting to be discovered by someone lucky enough to recognize their worth. So, what's the big deal about the 1988 penny? It all comes down to a specific error, an error involving the initials on the reverse side of the coin. Normally, at the base of the Lincoln Memorial on the back of the penny, you'll find the tiny initials, FG, standing for Frank Gasparo, the designer of the reverse. In most 1988 pennies, those initials appear crisp and clear, as they should. But in a small number of 1988 pennies, something unusual happened. The mint mistakenly used a reverse die from an earlier year, specifically, a 1989 design that had slightly different features. These particular 1988 pennies are now known as the 1988 reverse of 1989 variety, and they're incredibly rare. The main difference lies in the appearance of those FG initials. On the reverse die from 1989, the letters are spaced differently and shaped in a subtly distinct way. That change wasn't supposed to be used until the following year, yet somehow it ended up on some 1988 coins. That simple mix-up created one of the most valuable and sought-after modern Lincoln cent errors of all time. It's such a minor detail that most people would never notice, but trained collectors know to look closely, because spotting the difference could lead to a massive payout. What makes these coins even more exciting is that they weren't intended to exist at all. The mint tries to ensure consistency in design and precision in production, but every so often, a mistake slips through. And when that mistake involves a change in design that was never supposed to appear in a given year, collectors go wild. These error coins tell a story. They are unintentional time travelers that escaped the control of the mint and made their way into the hands of the public. They represent a rare and fascinating moment in the production of American currency, and that's exactly why they're worth so much to those who understand their value. Of course, condition plays a huge role in determining the final price. If you find a 1988 penny with the reverse of 1989 in heavily circulated condition, it might still hold value, but if it's in mint state, uncirculated, or professionally graded as high quality, then you're looking at a real jackpot. Coin grading services like PCGS and NGC have certified some of these rare 1988 error pennies at the highest levels, and those top-tier coins are the ones that drive up the excitement, and the price tags. For passionate collectors, the thrill of finding one of these rare 1988 pennies is like striking gold. It's not just about the money, though that's certainly part of the appeal. It's about the chase, the mystery, and the satisfaction of uncovering something that most people would overlook. It's the kind of story that brings collectors together, sharing knowledge, comparing finds, and keeping the hunt alive with every new roll of pennies. That's what makes numismatics so rewarding. You never know when your next great discovery might be sitting right in your own pocket. Now here's the part you've been waiting for. One of these rare 1988 Lincoln pennies, featuring the reverse of 1989 and certified in exceptional condition, was sold at auction for an unbelievable $64,000. Top 3, we're diving into the mystery and hidden value of a coin that's often overlooked, forgotten at the bottom of a jar, or tossed aside as spare change, the 1991 Lincoln penny from the United States of America. This little copper-colored coin might seem ordinary at first glance, but believe me, there are versions of the 1991 penny that are far from normal. Some of these coins contain errors so rare and unusual, they've stunned collectors and sold for jaw-dropping amounts at auction. If you've got a 1991 penny sitting in your collection or loose change, you might want to pay close attention, because that tiny coin could be worth a lot more than just 1 cent. Let's start with the basics. The 1991 Lincoln cent features the familiar profile of Abraham Lincoln on the front, designed by Victor D. Brenner, a design that has remained iconic since it was first introduced in 1909. On the back of the coin, you'll find the Lincoln Memorial, complete with fine detailing and the designer initials, FG, at the base. At first glance, this penny doesn't seem like anything out of the ordinary. It was minted in huge quantities and used widely in circulation across the country. But as always in the world of coin collecting, the magic is in the details, and that's where the story of the rare and valuable 1991 penny begins. The U.S. Mint has produced billions of Lincoln cents over the decades, but every once in a while, an error slips through the cracks, an unexpected imperfection, a subtle misalignment, or a rare variation that turns an ordinary coin into something truly extraordinary. In 1991, a few very special pennies were struck with mistakes that transformed them into valuable collector's items. One of the most notable errors associated with the 1991 penny is the off-center strike. This happens when the coin blank, or planchet, isn't positioned correctly in the press, causing the design to appear shifted to one side. Depending on the percentage of the off-center strike and the visibility of the date, these coins can fetch hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Another significant error that's been found in 1991 pennies is the double die variety. This occurs when the die used to strike the coin has been improperly manufactured, creating a doubling effect on certain parts of the design. Collectors know to examine the text on the coin, especially "Liberty, in God We Trust," and the date. If any of these appear to be doubled, that coin might just be something special. Double die pennies have always attracted attention in the collector world, and even minor doubling from 1991 can command impressive prices, especially if the coin is in mint or near mint condition. Then there's the extremely rare case of a 1991 penny struck on the wrong planchet entirely. That means the coin was accidentally struck using a blank intended for another denomination or even another country. These types of minting errors are incredibly rare, and when one shows up with a verified 1991 date, it's big news in the coin collecting community. These coins defy expectations, and collectors are willing to pay a premium for these anomalies because they are true one-of-a-kind pieces of minting history. Imagine holding a 1991 penny that was never supposed to exist. That's the kind of rarity that fuels the passion of numismatists around the world. What makes these rare 1991 Lincoln cents even more valuable is their condition. A heavily circulated coin with an error might still bring in a decent price, but a mint state coin, especially one graded MS-65 or higher, can be worth a small fortune. That's why collectors carefully inspect their pennies, store them in protective holders, and sometimes send them to professional grading services to confirm their authenticity and condition. A high-grade error coin from 1991 isn't just a collector's prize, it's a financial asset, a piece of American history, and a conversation piece all rolled into one. The excitement around the 1991 penny continues to grow because these coins prove that hidden treasures can be found anywhere. Whether you're sorting through rolls of pennies from the bank, digging through your childhood coin collection, or just glancing at the change in your hand, that moment of discovery is always thrilling. The idea that a 1-cent coin could turn into a life-changing find is what keeps the heart of the hobby beating. And for collectors, the 1991 Lincoln cent is one of those quiet legends, unassuming, but powerful if you know what to look for. And now, the moment that makes collectors' hearts race. One of the rarest known 1991 Lincoln pennies, featuring a significant mint error and graded in top condition, was sold at auction for an incredible total of $57,000. Top 4. We're going to explore a modern-day coin that you've probably seen thousands of times, but this one holds a secret. We're talking about the United States of America 1-cent Lincoln penny from the year 2001. Yes, you heard that right, 2001. It's not a century-old coin, and it's not from some ancient era, yet certain rare versions of the 2001 penny have shocked collectors by selling for amounts you wouldn't believe. If you've ever held a penny from this year, you might want to go check your change, because there's a chance that ordinary-looking coin could be worth a small fortune. The 2001 Lincoln penny features the familiar design that's been a part of American coinage since 1959. On the obverse side, you have the timeless portrait of Abraham Lincoln, created by Victor D. Brenner, and on the reverse, the Lincoln Memorial, with tiny details that include even a miniature statue of Lincoln inside. This was the last full decade before the penny's design was changed in 2009 for Lincoln's bicentennial, so the 2001 issue still belongs to the classic era of memorial cents. But what truly makes the 2001 Lincoln penny stand out to collectors isn't the design itself, it's the rare errors and hidden variations that were never meant to be released into circulation. You might be wondering how a coin minted just over 2 decades ago can be worth tens of thousands of dollars. The answer lies in what's known as mint errors, accidental mistakes that occurred during the minting process. Some 2001 pennies were struck with dramatic off-center errors, where part of the design is missing because the blank wasn't aligned correctly with the dies. These off-center strikes are incredibly eye-catching and become even more valuable when the date is still visible. The more dramatic the misalignment, the more collectors are willing to pay, especially if the coin is in uncirculated condition. Another stunning variety of the 2001 penny is the double die error. In this case, the coin is struck with a die that has been improperly manufactured, resulting in a doubled image. This doubling is often visible in the lettering, such as "Liberty," "In God We Trust," and sometimes even the date itself. These coins are rare and can be tough to spot unless you look very closely. But once identified, they become highly desirable in the world of numismatics. Imagine finding a 2001 penny where every letter looks like it's vibrating. That's the kind of visual error collectors dream of adding to their collection. And then there are coins with wrong planchet errors. In very rare cases, a 2001 Lincoln penny was struck on a blank meant for a different coin, such as a dime or even a foreign denomination. These coins have unusual weight, size, and even color, making them immediate standouts. Because they're not supposed to exist at all, they often command extremely high prices when authenticated. These are the types of errors that escape the mint's careful quality control and make their way into circulation, turning a regular-looking penny into a once-in-a-lifetime find. Collectors know that condition is everything when it comes to rare coins. A 2001 Lincoln penny with a unique error in worn condition might still hold value, but one that's been kept in pristine, mint state condition, especially if it's professionally graded, can be worth thousands. Coins graded MS-65 and higher are especially prized, and when those grades are combined with rare errors like a double die or off-center strike, the value rises dramatically. These are the kinds of coins that make headlines when they go up for auction and spark the curiosity of collectors around the world. What makes the 2001 Lincoln penny especially exciting is that it's relatively modern, so there's still a real chance that these rare versions are hiding in circulation today. That means you don't need a time machine or an ancient collection to discover one. You could find one in a coin jar, a cash register, or even loose change from a store. That sense of possibility keeps collectors motivated and turns the hunt into a thrilling adventure. Every 2001 penny becomes a mystery worth solving, because you never know when you might uncover an error that could change everything. And now, here comes the moment that gets every collector's heart racing. One of these rare and valuable 2001 Lincoln pennies, featuring a dramatic mint error and preserved in excellent condition, was sold at auction for an incredible total of $52,000. Top 5, we're talking about the humble yet fascinating United States of America 1-cent Lincoln penny minted in 1975. At first glance, it looks like just another common copper coin you might toss into a fountain or find at the bottom of a drawer. But some of these 1975 Lincoln cents are anything but ordinary. Some contain rare features and minting mistakes that can launch their value from a single cent to tens of thousands of dollars. So grab your magnifying glass and tune in, because one small detail on this coin could lead you to a jaw-dropping discovery. Let's begin with the basics. The 1975 Lincoln penny features the iconic profile of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, designed by Victor D. Brenner, with "In God We Trust" proudly arching across the top. On the reverse is the detailed Lincoln Memorial, a symbol of American pride, designed by Frank Gasparo. This penny, like all minted between 1959 and 2008, contains a miniature depiction of Lincoln seated inside the memorial, a tribute within a tribute. The coin was made primarily of copper, and over 5 billion were struck in 1975, which makes it seem like just another mass-produced coin. But this is where things get interesting, because hidden among those billions are a few rare examples that are incredibly valuable due to rare mint errors and unique varieties. One of the most exciting aspects of the 1975 penny lies in its potential for doubling errors. A double die coin happens when the die used to strike the coin has a slight misalignment during manufacturing, creating the appearance of doubling in the text or design elements. On a 1975 penny, the most likely spots to spot doubling include the word liberty, the motto, "In God We Trust," and even the date itself. Coins with visible doubling are in high demand, especially when verified by a professional grading service. The stronger and clearer the doubling, the more collectors are willing to pay. Some examples have sold for thousands simply because the lettering appears to be stamped twice, even though it happened unintentionally. Another fascinating error found in 1975 pennies involves off-center strikes. These occur when the coin blank is not properly centered in the press during minting, causing the design to be shifted, sometimes dramatically. The more off-center the strike, and the more complete the date that remains visible, the more valuable the coin becomes. Collectors love these because no two off-center strikes are exactly the same, which turns each one into a unique piece of art born from a rare accident. A 1975 penny struck 50% off-center with a clear date can easily command a serious premium in the collector's market. There are also rare instances of 1975 pennies being struck on the wrong planchet. This means the coin was accidentally struck on a blank meant for another denomination, like a dime or even a foreign coin. These wrong planchet errors result in coins that have the design of a penny but the size, weight, or metal composition of something completely different. These are exceptionally rare and are often discovered only when someone notices something off about the feel or look of a coin. When authenticated, these coins can skyrocket in value due to their extreme rarity and the sheer curiosity they create among numismatists. Even small variations in the design or the die used during minting can impact value. Die cracks, where a small fracture forms in the minting die and leaves a raised line on the coin, are also found on some 1975 Lincoln cents. While minor die cracks are common, larger and more dramatic ones can catch the attention of collectors looking for error coins with strong visual appeal. These coins might not bring in tens of thousands on their own, but when combined with other features or found in excellent condition, they become much more desirable. Every small difference matters in this world, and it's why collectors inspect every detail with such care and excitement. Now let's talk about the most important factor that can turn a valuable coin into a truly priceless one: its condition. A rare 1975 penny with any of these mint errors or anomalies becomes significantly more valuable if it's in mint state condition, untouched by circulation and preserved just as it left the mint. Coins graded MS65 or higher by services like PCGS or NGC are especially sought after. The combination of rarity and condition can create the perfect storm in the collector's market, leading to incredible auction results that make headlines and spark new waves of interest in seemingly ordinary coins. And now, here's the moment you've been waiting for. One extraordinary example of a 1975 Lincoln penny, featuring a rare mint error and preserved in near-perfect condition, was sold at auction for an unbelievable total of $73,000. Top 6. We're taking a deep dive into a coin that holds a surprising amount of mystery and value: the United States of America 1-cent Lincoln penny from the year 1976. At first glance, it might seem like just another old penny, something you'd find in a handful of change or buried in the bottom of a drawer. But the truth is, some of these 1976 pennies are hiding rare mint errors that can turn them into extraordinary collectibles worth thousands of times their face value. That's right. What most people ignore as just 1 cent could actually be a hidden treasure, and today we're going to reveal everything you need to know to spot the difference. The 1976 Lincoln penny carries the classic design we all know and recognize. On the front is the iconic image of Abraham Lincoln, created by Victor D. Brenner, showing the 16th president facing right, with the words, "In God We Trust," arching above him, liberty to the left, and the year 1976 to the right. On the reverse side, designed by Frank Gasparo, is the detailed depiction of the Lincoln Memorial, complete with its many columns and a tiny image of Lincoln seated inside. While over 4 billion of these coins were minted, what makes this year so intriguing is that 1976 was a major year in American history, the nation's bicentennial. Although the penny didn't get a special design like the quarter, half dollar, or dollar coin that year, Some very unusual things happened during its production that make it highly collectible today. One of the most exciting features collectors look for in a 1976 penny is a double die error. This type of error occurs when the die used to strike the coin is improperly prepared, leading to doubled images on the coin's surface. This doubling can appear in the date, the word liberty, or even in the motto, "In God We Trust." While these may be small imperfections to the average eye, to a trained collector, they are golden signs of rarity and value. A clearly visible double die on a 1976 penny, especially in high-grade condition, is something collectors will compete fiercely to obtain. These types of errors don't just add interest, they can add serious value. Another rare and valuable error that shows up in the 1976 penny is the off-center strike. This occurs when the blank coin isn't properly aligned within the coin press, causing the design to appear shifted or incomplete. These errors vary in severity, but when a coin is dramatically off-center and still shows a full date, that's the kind of collectible that makes headlines in auctions. The further off-center the coin is, the rarer it becomes, especially if it's been preserved in near-mint condition. These pieces aren't just coins anymore, they're unique moments captured from inside the minting process, and that kind of rarity always catches the eyes of serious collectors. One of the most dramatic and valuable types of mint errors that have been discovered in some 1976 pennies is when the coin is struck on the wrong planchet. This means the penny was accidentally struck on a blank meant for a different denomination, such as a dime or even a foreign coin. These wrong planchet coins are extremely rare, and their odd size, weight, or color can make them stand out immediately to someone who knows what to look for. If a 1976 penny looks strange in your hand, maybe lighter, smaller, or with a different tone, it could be one of these ultra-rare wrong planchet errors. When certified by a professional grading service, these mistakes can lead to jaw-dropping prices at auction. Die cracks and cuts are also valuable indicators of rarity in 1976 Lincoln pennies. These are caused when the die itself develops a crack or break during the minting process, resulting in raised lines or blobs of metal on the coin's surface. While smaller cracks might only add mild value, larger and more dramatic die breaks, especially ones that clearly affect the design, are more collectible and can significantly increase a coin's price. These features are like scars that tell the story of a machine pushed past its limit, and collectors appreciate the raw, industrial beauty of these flaws. Of course, as with any rare and valuable coin, condition is key. Even the rarest mint error won't bring top dollar if the coin is heavily worn or damaged. That's why coins that have been kept in uncirculated condition, especially those graded MS65 or higher by services like PCGS or NGC, are the most desirable. The combination of a rare error and excellent preservation is what transforms a simple penny into a serious collector's prize. When both rarity and condition come together, it's the perfect storm, and that's when coins reach unbelievable values at auction. Now here's the part that gets every coin enthusiast's heart racing. One exceptional 1976 Lincoln penny, featuring a dramatic mint error and preserved in mint state condition, was sold at auction for an astonishing total of $70,000, so the next time you're sorting through your coins or looking at some old pocket change, take a second glance at any 1976 pennies. Look for doubling, off-center strikes, strange weights, or odd appearances. That single coin you almost didn't notice could be worth more than your entire coin jar. Keep your eyes open, your curiosity high, and your coin collection close, because hidden treasures are out there, waiting to be discovered. Top 7 and last rare coin, we're turning our spotlight on a seemingly ordinary coin with an extraordinary story, the United States of America 1-cent Lincoln penny from the year 1980. This penny might look like any other change you've handled countless times, but hidden among the millions minted that year are rare mint errors and unique varieties that could make your coin worth far more than just 1 cent. If you're a serious collector or just a curious coin lover, you're going to want to listen closely and discover why this particular penny has become such a fascinating piece in the world of numismatics. The 1980 Lincoln penny features the classic design that has been familiar to Americans for decades. On the front, the strong profile of Abraham Lincoln, the nation's 16th president, stands out against the smooth copper background. Around him, the inscriptions read, "In God We Trust, Liberty, and, of course, the year 1980. On the reverse, you'll find the iconic Lincoln Memorial, symbolizing unity and strength, a design by Frank Gasparo that has adorned the penny since 1959. Over 4 billion pennies were struck in 1980, making it seem like just another common coin, but this massive mintage also means that hidden among the millions are a few rare errors that can catch any collector's eye. One of the most exciting reasons the 1980 penny is highly sought after by collectors is because of the existence of mint errors, particularly double die varieties. A double die occurs when the coin die itself has a misalignment or a flaw that causes the letters or numbers on the coin to appear doubled. On the 1980 Lincoln penny, you might spot this doubling on the date, the word liberty, or the phrase, "In God we trust." This subtle but fascinating error can significantly increase the coin's value, especially if the doubling is clear and the coin remains in excellent condition. For collectors, these double die coins are like numismatic gold, providing both historical intrigue and tangible worth. Another remarkable and highly collectible error from the 1980 penny is the off-center strike. This error happens when the metal blank is not properly aligned in the coining press, causing the design to be struck off-center. The more dramatic the off-center strike, the rarer the coin becomes, particularly if the date remains fully visible. These off-center pennies are like tiny works of accidental art, each one unique in its degree of misalignment. For serious collectors, an off-center 1980 penny in near-mint condition is a true prize that often brings exciting bids at auction. Some 1980 pennies have also been discovered with planchet errors. This occurs when the coin is struck on a blank metal disc that is either the wrong size or made from the wrong metal composition. For example, a penny struck on a planchet intended for a dime or a foreign coin creates a fascinating oddity prized by collectors. These wrong planchet coins are incredibly rare and are often discovered accidentally by sharp-eyed numismatists. When authenticated, these errors can cause the value of the penny to soar far beyond its face value, turning it into a collector's dream. Condition plays an enormous role in the value of these rare 1980 pennies. Even the most extraordinary mint errors can lose their premium if the coin shows signs of wear, damage, or corrosion. That's why uncirculated coins, those that look like they just came from the mint, often graded MS65 or higher by professional services like PCGS or NGC, are the holy grail for collectors. The perfect blend of rarity and pristine condition is what transforms a simple penny into a highly sought-after collectible that can fetch incredible prices. Now, let me share something that will truly astonish you. A rare 1980 Lincoln penny with a dramatic mint error and preserved in mint state condition once sold at auction for a staggering $65,000. Yes, $65,000 for a single penny that most people might overlook in their change jar. So next time you're sorting through your coins or digging into that old piggy bank, pay extra attention to any 1980 pennies you come across. Look carefully for doubling, off-center strikes, or anything unusual about size and color. That ordinary coin could be a hidden treasure waiting to be discovered. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the fascinating world of rare pennies, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you never miss out on the latest coin discoveries and valuable tips. Thanks for watching, and happy collecting!